beautiful passing play right there, Sean.
What a save! Woo! Talk about a move.
Welcome to another exciting edition to Grove City Hockey Presents
Hockey in our neck of the woods, and you, sir, were a very talked about person towards the end.
I'm a fifth-year senior, well, it's my sixth year of college.
Hey, Colin.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, have you had a chance to check out Conway and Banks hockey bags yet?
Actually, I have, sir. Today's episode is brought to you by Conway and Banks Hockey Bags, one of the finest and probably the top of the line hockey bag on the market right now, with their wonderful materials and everything else that goes along with the bag. If you want to keep on going for me, bud.
Oh, I would actually go so far as to say that it's the premier hockey bag. Whether it be your shins, elbows, your gloves, your helmet, it all has a special place, and it also comes in a very what's the word that I'm looking for with the quality of the bag is it's one of the premier bags. If you have kids that are just starting out, or kids that are just trying to be more responsible, or if you're that guy that used to throw all this stuff in and was always losing their gear, whether it be a glove off to the, at the rink under the bench, here you can just look straight down into your bag and be like, I got everything. I'm good to roll.
Yep, and another nice thing about it too is they have a multiple different styles. So they have player, they have coaches, they have the backpack that you can pre-order right now,
Yep.
and they have a goalie bag. Honestly, I'm looking to get one, and if you guys go using our promo code Grove City Hockey in all caps, you can get 10% off one of these high quality bags. And guys, we recommend it highly. They sent us one in, and it is a phenomenal bag with the dividers organized, and not to mention they also have these nice vents on the sides, so that way airflow gets in there and you can finally battle that horrible hockey smell. So guys, I don't think there's anything else to say about it other than go to Conway and Banks, check out these bags, and use our promo code Grove City Hockey in all caps for 10% off.
Get your Conway and Banks hockey bag now. Welcome to GCH Podcast. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock. With me today is Jake. Jake, how you doing, buddy?
Good, Ben. It's a pleasure to be on the program.
All right, cool. Well, we're happy to have you. So for those of you that don't know, Jake is actually the team captain of the Grove City Thunderbirds, right? T4?
Yes, sir.
All right. How's the team looking there, bud?
Well, with it being our inaugural season, there's definitely some training wheels that we still have to kick off. But we're successful in the last two tournaments that we played in. Now, some will say that we had a home court advantage, but I think the group's really starting to mesh together, and we're becoming a true team in the sense of it.
Cool. And now you guys are done until championships, right?
No, we'll have one more weekend in Buffalo to round out our four tournament weekend, and then fingers crossed that we make the cut. We're sitting middle of the pack. Like, the problem with it is, even though we're getting it done on Sunday, we're losing out on Saturday. So
That's
we're
always
still
tough.
sitting around that 500 mark, and we got to get the Saturday games done if we're going to advance at all.
Yep, for sure. So are you guys now, not to add any pressure, but are you guys looking to how many wins do you guys have to have on Saturday in order to even have a chance to make the championships?
So we're in the cut right now, but there's other teams that haven't played their full weekends, as have we. So right now, if nothing changes, we're in. But that doesn't mean that that's the position we want to be in. We want to get as high as we can before May rolls around. For
sure. And that's May 20th at Fraser, right?
Yes, sir. In the big bowl.
All right. I'm looking forward to it. So, well, let's get started here. We're going to go back to Chicago. That happened a few weeks ago. So that was a T4, T3 event. Teams included Detroit Revolution, Windy City Syndicate Black, Detroit Fuel, Iowa Leaf Rays, the Chicago Mary Pats, Chi-Town Shamrocks, the Windy City Pigeons, and Chicago Damage. And then in your T3 group, you had the Beer City Growlers, Buffalo Fusion, Windy City Syndicate, Detroit Revolution again, as well as the Active Stick Hockey, Chicago Hitmen, the Chicago Tropics and the Great Lakes Growlers.
Unfortunate thing about the Chicago weekends is we unfortunately do not make it out there to broadcast. So the favorite part of the league, where I get to watch all these teams battle it out on Sundays, we don't get to have happen on Chicago weekends. It's just too far of a drive for us in Grove City. But if I look at some of the score sheets, what I've noticed is that none of these games are really true blowouts. They're all really close. There's a couple in the T4 division that got a little bit carried away. But for the most part, with all these teams being from the Chicago area, I'm sure they play each other a lot and they know their tendencies. It's the same as us playing the Pittsburgh teams, right? Even though we're not necessarily on the same team playing together all the time, we definitely know each other's ticks and what to look out for. So I imagine it's the same thing sort of here, where most of the teams are Chicago based.
Gotcha. Okay. So with that, let's just jump right into the playoffs. We've got T4B action. We had the Detroit Fuel taking on the Windy City Pigeons, the Chicago Damage taking on the Windy City Syndicate Black, and then we also had, that's it for that little section there. So that's in the B. So those are the semifinal matchups there. And of the four teams, I actually had the Detroit Fuel beating the Pigeons, but it was actually all Windy City Pigeons 5-4.
Yeah, so the weird thing about it is this tournament actually had a forfeit in the championship. So it was a little odd to see the setup for this. So even though a team getting a tie or a loss, making it deep, it was a little bit odd to see for sure.
Yep. So with that, then you move on to the other side. You had the Chicago Damage taking on the Windy City Syndicate Black. And that was a 9-2 drubbing for the Windy City Syndicate Black, as they took on some put some damage on the Chicago Damage. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and it was all Tony Garcia this weekend. A couple of assists, a couple of goals. He got as close to the goal cap without going over in both the goals and the assist column. Really good weekend for that young man, but there just wasn't a lot coming back from the Damage. Really only scored the 2 goals, one at the beginning and one at the very end. No action really in the middle, and it's hard to keep momentum going when you have that much space in between goals.
Yep. And like Jake said, in the finals, you saw the Detroit Fuel taking on the Windy City Syndicate Black, and that was actually just a straight-up forfeit by the Fuel.
Yeah, so. You've seen that happen occasionally, and it's really rough to watch because it's kind of winning by
default.
Technical. Yeah, right. You're not earning that one, so it doesn't feel special. Now, a win's a win, and I'm sure all these teams are going to count that in their favor, but you really want to play the game for the love of the game, not just to move up in the standings.
Right. Absolutely. So let's move on to the T4A bracket. So the semifinals, you saw the Chi-Town Shamrocks taking on the Iowa Leaf Rays, the Detroit Revolution versus the Chicago Mary Pats. And those two teams right there, or those 4 teams, I should say, I actually would have gone the other way with these 2 picks that actually ended up winning. So we'll do Chi-Town Shamrocks versus Iowa Leaf Rays, and it was a very tight game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was tight in the sense that they never really extended the lead beyond 2 at any point in the game, and then to blow a 2-1 lead. I mean, it's not something you want to see every day. What Shamrocks failed to do was capitalize on that third period, and then they didn't get it done in overtime, of course. But you can't let a team go scoreless in the second and then have a late surge in the third. You got to keep them tied up a little bit more defensively than that.
Yep. So we had a 4-4 tie going into overtime, and Iowa knocked in that game-winning goal there to send the Iowa Leaf Rays to the championship, where they would take on the winner of the Detroit Revolution and the Chicago Mary Pats. I actually had the Detroit Revolution as one of my go-to teams this season in the T4 division. And the Mary Pats, they said, you're not going to come to our hometown of Chicago and knock us out of our game. And that's exactly what they did. They just took it right back to them, and it was 5-3 for the Chicago Mary Pats.
The other thing is that both of these teams converted on the power play in this game. They had plenty of opportunities, and so you're only batting about 30% either way. You got to convert more on those power plays, have a better option, especially when you're going to have a really tight game coming down into the third. You've got to be able to perform on the power play much, much more efficiently than that.
So now, of the 8 teams that you've heard in this T4 bracket in Chicago, which 2 teams would your team be nervous to play?
My team personally, we always struggle against the Detroit Fuel and the Iowa Leaf Rays. Now, the problem is that we've never played them full strength after that first weekend, and you have to be able to be ready for whatever team shows up. Those 2 teams, they didn't have all their guys both times, but it didn't matter because they were able to know the league a lot better than we were at the time. I'd love to see those guys in an early matchup, but like Chicago is also always a scary opponent of ours. I have a lot of respect for a lot of these teams. There's not really a team on here. I mean, you can look at the scores. Not really a team on here who didn't deserve to be in the standings.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, I know Chicago Triple P is a tough team, but they weren't at this tournament this time. So, so right back to it, Iowa, they struggled this season quite a bit, short a few guys each tournament, bringing in some talent to help them out. And some weekends they really gel really well. Other weekends, not so much.
Their hard hitters hit hard whenever they're on. And so that's the thing is like you get used to being sucked in by them not having their full squad. And then come playoff times when they do, you just got to be careful and watch out for them.
That's absolutely right. So with the Iowa Leaf Race taking on the Chicago Mary Pats, the Mary Pats, they found a renewed sense of urgency here. If they wanted to make the playoffs as well, because they were last year's runner-up.
Yeah, and it was nobody standing out on the score sheet. Everybody contributed in their own ways. Even having a shorthanded goal really helps to, as you said, push that sense of urgency in the middle of the season. So really excited to see what the Mary Pats throw together. They're a team that, you don't want to get beyond their goalie. They have excellent goaltending, keeps it tight in all hours of the game, I guess.
Yeah, you're absolutely right with that. So with that, the Mary Pats took a 5-2 victory over the Iowa Leaf Rays. And Philip Godejan had 2 goals for the Mary Pats to help secure that victory. So cool. All right, so then now we're looking at some T3B action. We had the Chicago Tropics versus the Beer City Growlers in 1. And then we had the Great Lakes Growlers. So you had Beer City Growlers, and then you had the Great Lakes Growlers. Always confuses me for a hot second. I want to make sure. I'm like, did I just do a typo? But yeah, so the Tropics took on the Beer City Growlers. Great Lakes Growlers took on the Buffalo Fusion. And that semifinals was – I didn't have one of the 2 teams in the B bracket. I actually had them in the A bracket. So with that, let's go Chicago Tropics taking on Beer City, and it was all Tropics, 8-1.
And this team is obviously one of the favorites of the league. They always have a really good showing. They always are playing fight back hockey, and they really, really know how to mesh as a group. There hasn't been a tournament I've seen of theirs yet that they didn't look right. They didn't look like they were fully on. So it's no surprise here for me, really. These are definitely one of my favorites for the league.
I was just surprised they weren't in the upper bracket instead of, they just probably had a rough Saturday,
Anything's possible in that department.
Yeah. So then you had the Great Lakes Growlers taking on the Buffalo Fusion, and it was a 7-6 victory for the Fusion.
Yeah, the other thing here, Ben, the problem with like these games is this is a game of I don't want to say a lack of goaltending, but some defensive lapses wherever you want to put that in. And to really succeed in this league, you always say about possession. Well, half of that is being defensive and being able to take that possession back. And so that's what you needed to see out of these 2 teams. Luckily for the Fusion, they were able to get it done with a really strong second. But again, almost let it up in the third. So really tight game between these 2 for sure.
Yep. So that brings us to the finals with the Tropics taking on the Fusion, and it was 9-6 victory for the Chicago Tropics. You had a 4-goal, 2-assist effort behind Mark McNicholas, and Robert Collada added 1 goal and 4 assists. Which, I mean, if you can get somebody to chip out 4 assists, you're really sitting pretty. And Trevor Hansen also had 2 goals and 2 assists, so it's not like they had help from everywhere.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, again, if you're gonna let in this much defensive, I guess, liability, allowing these many goals in a game, that's where you're able to turn this contest around. Is just locking your D down a lot heavier and a lot more possessive whenever you're controlling this puck. 6-9 is a heavy score for inline and for ice. But the thing about it is that if you can even lessen that up by 2, this game is a 1-goal game, and any bounce, any kick could go your way and change it. So that'd be my suggestion, is just getting that defensive effort a little bit tighter for these guys.
Well, and then I always say, look, if Mark McNicholas would have missed his wake-up time, right there, it's 6-5 victory for the Fusion.
Yeah, for sure.
So moving on to T3 action, you've got the Active Stick taking on Detroit Revolution, and then you have the Chicago Hitmen taking on the Windy City Syndicate. So with that, I mean, the first game with the Active Stick and Detroit Revolution, it was just 6-5 victory for the D-Rev.
Yeah, and you don't see shootout victories very often, especially on Sundays. They normally get it done in overtime. However, there's something that's got to be said for the Detroit Revolution goaltender not letting in a single shot on that shootout. So really locked it down when it counted and got it done.
Yeah, didn't it go into like 7 or 10 rounds or something like that?
It actually didn't go past 3. I think you're thinking of the following weekend, which we will get to, my friend,
awesome.
next week. But yeah, this one was done in 3. Actually, done in technically only 5 shots, because scored on the first and then didn't need to on the second.
Yep.
So it was good to go for those guys. They got it done when they needed to.
Yep. So then that moves us to the other side of the bracket, where you have the Chicago Hitmen taking on the Windy City Syndicate. And it was an 8-5 victory as the Hitmen put up the hit on the Syndicate.
It's always a pleasure to watch Vince Esposito. The kid is so fast and so squirrely, doesn't quit, and he'll fight any guy that's 2 foot taller than him. He's an absolute monster on the score sheet, and a real pleasure to watch play. So it's no doubt, for my opinion, that the Hitmen were going to win this game since day one.
For sure. So you got the Chicago Hitmen taking on the Detroit Revolution, and this one is your classic rivalry between Chicago and Detroit. And both teams came out. They played hard. They battled hard, and in the end, it was a Chicago victory at 5-2.
Yeah, Harrison Cole is the hero of this one, netting 2 assists and 2 goals. Absolute beast mode for him. But all around, I mean, you can't hate on Austin Cooley. The only 2 goals for Detroit Revolution. He came to play and he gave it everything he could to pull his team ahead. Just needed a couple extra guys to help.
Yep. All it takes is a couple guys to chip in an assist and a goal here and there, and the outcome of this game would have been slightly different.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but all right, well, that'll do it for this episode of GCH Hockey. Let's make sure, if you haven't liked and subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. Turn on all notifications so you don't miss out on any of our content.
Yeah, make sure to like and subscribe and share the pod.
All right, Jake, thanks for being with us today. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Ben.
All right, buddy.
Yep, bye.
Now carried it in back into the goal.
That was a beautiful passing play right there, Sean.
What a save! Woo! Talk about a move.
Up next, interview with Mike Endres from Beer City Growlers. Hey, Colin.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, have you had a chance to check out Conway and Banks hockey bags yet?
Actually, I have, sir. Today's episode is brought to you by Conway and Banks Hockey Bags, one of the finest and probably the top of the line hockey bag on the market right now, with their wonderful materials and everything else that goes along with the bag. If you want to keep on going for me, bud.
Oh, I would actually go so far as to say that it's the premier hockey bag. Whether it be your shins, elbows, your gloves, your helmet, it all has a special place, and it also comes in a very what's the word that I'm looking for with the quality of the bag is it's one of the premier bags. If you have kids that are just starting out, or kids that are just trying to be more responsible, or if you're that guy that used to throw all this stuff in and was always losing their gear, whether it be a glove off to the, at the rink under the bench, here you can just look straight down into your bag and be like, I got everything. I'm good to roll.
Yep, and another nice thing about it too is they have a multiple different styles. So they have player, they have coaches, they have the backpack that you can pre-order right now, and they have a goalie bag. Honestly, I'm looking to get one, and if you guys go using our promo code Grow City Hockey in all caps, you can get 10% off one of these high quality bags. And guys, we recommend it highly. They sent us one in, and it is a phenomenal bag with the dividers organized, and not to mention they also have these nice vents on the sides, so that way airflow gets in there and you can finally battle that horrible hockey smell. So, guys, I don't think there's anything else to say about it other than go to Conway Banks, check out these bags, and use our promo code Grow City Hockey in all caps for 10% off.
Get your Conway and Banks hockey bag now. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to GCH Podcast. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock. I've got a special guest with me, as you can see. His name is Mike Endres of the Beer City Growlers. How you doing, Mike?
Oh, I'm stacking pads, snagging pucks, doing great. How about you?
No, hanging in there, just trying to figure out this whole new layout. It was a busy past few days, so it's been a wild one.
Okay.
So cool. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know you're with the Beer City Growlers. They're not doing too well this session.
Yeah.
But
Thanks,
but
Ben.
you guys have a good team.
Well, yeah, we did. We
I still think you do. I mean, I've played with you guys for a number of years. I like to think you guys have that camaraderie that, not many teams have, because you guys have been playing together for how many years now?
Hey, they've been playing together for a very long time. I played
Yeah.
against them for a while, but yeah, we've been a team in the MIHA for 4 years now, and we played at Rivertown Sports in West Michigan for going back a little bit longer. So yeah, we've been together for a while. And yeah, I feel like after COVID, a bunch of people came out to play roller hockey and made T3 pretty difficult, because we have won one game in the last 2 seasons, and it was like a forfeit win the refs gave us halfway through. Though I will say we were leading the game when we got the win. I think we were leading 4-3. I don't know if we would have kept the lead, but yeah, it's been rough. Before that, we were doing really well. I mean, we had won 3 different tournaments in the MIHA. Mm-hmm. We couldn't play in playoffs the year of COVID. Just the rescheduling didn't work out for us. But the next year we went to the championship and lost to Detroit Revolution. And man, after that, fell off the tracks.
How that happens. I mean, you get a couple of key players here and there shuffle out. One can't make a tournament. It kind of throws everything into a loop.
I think another big thing for us was our home rink going down. So there's a lot of guys on our team. I think they only play in a summer league. They're not playing year round. Not even ice hockey.
Yeah. So. Oh wow, yeah, that can be that does make it tough when it's just a weekend a month, So So tell us a little bit about yourself, because you actually go way back to almost like the initial inaugural season of MyHa,
Oh
when
yeah,
you were playing with the Giraffes, right?
yeah, yeah. Man, I go way back because I'm 41 years old. But yes, I played originally in the Major League Roller Hockey for the DC Filibusters. That was
Mm-hmm.
the team. And then when Staple started up Miha, yeah, I was on his inaugural team because he owned the DC Filibusters. So he brought me in and played for the Giraffes. I still throw on that jersey once in a while.
I still have mine too.
Oh, cool. Very cool. So yeah, and I took a break for a long time from Miha, but then I got back in it with these guys, the Beer City Growlers. I've only ever played for the Giraffes and
Yeah.
Beer City, so those are my only two Miha teams that I played on.
Okay. Well, now, so tell us how you got into hockey and how you fell in love with the game of that we all love to play.
Yeah, I only wish that I would have gotten involved in it sooner because I think it was the age of 17 before I started playing in the driveway with my friend Jordan. Um, he had built a net with his dad out of wood, and like we literally had baseball mitt and pillows, like those were our pads. And I played soccer at my high school. We didn't have a hockey team, but the way I played soccer and defended that huge net was like a butterfly goalie, which is kind of funny. Um, it worked, sort of. We had our first winning season in club history, Rogers High School. We went 8-7. I don't know how much I played in that. We had a couple of studs on the team, but that was fun. And from there, like I hadn't put on skates when Jordan and I were playing in the driveway, and so I one day my friend and I decided, hey, let's put on skates and let's see how this goes. And I actually found it to be easier. So I'm not that great of a skater. I can skate backwards pretty well, but I can do all the goaltending skating, but I'm not like if I tried to be a player out skating around like you, I would fail miserably.
Oh, give yourself a little more credit there. So then what happened from 17 to college? Because you actually won a championship, right?
Uh Beer league championships. No, I won in Major League Roller Hockey for the DC Filibusters. We did win a title. Yes, we played against the Chicago Roller Snakes. That was quite a fun experience because back then you had to wear like a suit to the rink, and
Yeah.
they called your name out. Like they did this whole like presentation for the starting line, and you had to like skate out. And so yes, I like to the joke when Ovechkin and the Capitals won the Stanley Cup. It was the first championship for DC since the DC Filibusters won it, and whatever it was.
Yeah, I think that was 2009 or 2010, something like that.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
You're
it
a
were
hockey genius.
either that or it was late 2008.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah,
Good
because
time.
I remember my first game. I think was in 2009. Jaron and I were talking about it when we did our interview with him. Um, yeah, like because that was at Cedar Rock Sportsplex.
Mm.
Was out that way.
Your first hockey game ever?
Yeah, well, no, I mean for first pro inline, you know,
Oh, okay.
yeah, because I think
Very good.
you guys came in the following year, and then yeah, because it would have been DC Filibusters, Chicago Roller Snakes, the Michigan Thunder, Buffalo Wings.
Detroit Revolution, I think, had a team.
Yep, yep,
Detroit
they
and
did,
something.
and then Boston Storm. That was the first team I played with. Was the Boston Storm.
Ah, good times.
Yeah, it was.
Good
It was a
times.
lot of fun. Um, yeah. So then what? So you won a couple championships, and then you kind of divulged, and then what happened? Like you were just, I know playing beer league, you were, I would always see around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, mainly I played roller hockey because I lived 4 miles from Rivertown Sports,
Mm-hmm.
and I had no idea how good I had it living that close to a roller hockey rink until it went away and there was just nothing around for
I
100
know.
miles.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I lived right next door to this. So, yeah, I've only played on two different ice hockey teams. And man, took me years to get used to ice skating. I make a kick save and I just keep sliding out of my net and I have to grab the post on the way past so I don't go in the corner.
Right.
Yeah, I've just always had a love for roller hockey, but now I get into some of these Miha games where I'm facing 40 shots in like 45 minutes and I kind of like the ice for the air conditioning. I'm not 20 years old anymore.
No, I know. I was thinking the same thing, especially when I'm broadcasting and I'm going, man, they need to like turn the AC on so I can kind of cool down.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
so cool.
Yeah, Rivertown had a lot of little advantages that as I travel around, I don't see anymore because we had a ceiling fan
Mm-hmm.
over our crease, and the owner, Rick, was a goalie, so he was thinking,
Yeah, Rick Rella, he was always he was ahead of his time on a lot of the rink improvements, as
Mhm.
I would like to say. I know that a lot of people out there will kind of give Rivertown a bad name, but I always enjoyed playing there,
Mhm.
just because it was like that mom and pop type rink that of course, yeah, didn't have the best flooring at the time or the best boards at the time, but the atmosphere and the people you played with and played against was always fun and entertaining. A couple of your teammates, were refs when I was refing there. So that was a lot of fun, just kind of being able to shoot the breeze and just, just like I said, the whole environment. And then afterwards, everybody pretty much hung out and had a few beers before they went home.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, and I'm sure that plays out across the world in hockey rinks, but yeah, Rivertown toward the end kind of looked like an abandoned warehouse.
Yep.
But I'll always remember that it had a scoreboard on either side, so I didn't have to like look over my shoulder to see how much time was left in penalties and things like that. And another thing I really appreciated as a goalie is they had pegs for the nets, which I so rarely see that. I've been scored on twice this year in Miha where the net was just off.
Yeah.
And I get it. The ref's not going to call back goals every time that net gets off a few inches because they'd be whistling constantly.
Every 10 seconds.
But man, I appreciate pegs for nets. Come on.
Yeah. I think you would have had issues in Chicago, right, at Salt Creek?
Yeah. It's all a blur, but two different
that one, and
tournaments
then
I had goals go in
yeah,
because the
and
net
then
was
yeah.
Yeah, it was.
So,
Actually, I just edited that video on my YouTube channel. It was that rink. Yep.
yeah. I remember I watched a little bit of it and I thought that was pretty cool.
Not that it would have mattered in that game. Like one
No.
goal wasn't going to mean anything. But
No. and then I think the other one would have been at Taylor, actually.
Yeah. Probably. You are a hockey genius. You know so much about hockey, even like little details like that. So
well, I try to just pay attention to, everything now that I'm not playing, because it'll come back to help us out for these episodes that we're doing.
Mhm.
So, but yeah.
Excellent.
So now you're playing with the boys. You're having fun. What is? You have a younger family, right? I mean, they're starting, like, I think they're what, in between,
It's 3 to
12?
14.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So now with your 3-year-old, does he go to school?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Oh,
No.
because mine's been going to school, going to daycare, and he'll have like a phenomenal day one day, and then the next day he's a complete turd. Like
Oh yeah.
he's
Well,
like he bit somebody the other day, like unprovoked, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? You know?
has he seen you bite anybody?
No, and
Okay.
it was weird, because I made a comment like I don't know about 2 months ago, like, oh, I'm gonna bite your nose, but then I never bit him. I never bit him. And like 2 days later, he gets into a little biting altercation, and then now he's not. Then he did it again the other day, and I'm like, dude. And I haven't like I went as soon as I said it, I went, ooh, that's not. Nope. Whoops. Whoops.
You know,
But yes,
being,
but then like, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say, being 3 years old, he hasn't lived a huge life yet. So, like saying that you're gonna bite his nose is actually a huge part of his life at this point, like
Right.
huge percentage of time.
Yeah.
So he's gonna remember that. Yeah, gotta
So
watch what you say.
I know. Well, yeah, especially I was just like, ooh. And then like I gotta really watch what we do or what we say around him now, because they're like a sponge. They just soak up everything.
Have you gotten him into skates yet?
Yes, yes, actually,
Yeah,
I do.
you're
Hang
ahead
on,
of me. I think on the field, right? All right.
yeah, yeah, no, absolutely.
St.
Um,
Patrick's Day tomorrow.
yeah, but yeah, like these little rippers, they go all the way up to a size 11. They do like from 7 to 11, so they're
Oh yeah,
adjustable.
I had some of those with my first three. Those are
Yeah,
great because their feet grow like every year. Smart
every
man.
few feet. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I put him in him like when I first got him like a year and a half ago,
Okay.
and put him up because I'm like, okay, he's not really ready for this yet. But now he just absolutely loves putting these on. He can't skate, but he likes to walk around in them. So we'll just start.
That's how
We'll
you do it.
start there. You know. So
Beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah, I had ice skates for my son,
Hmm.
but our pond never cooperated this year with such for the second winter in a row was such like
Yeah.
a weird winter, so I couldn't get him out on the ice. But I have my own inline hockey rink back here. It used to be a tennis court, um, and I do have some skates that might fit him. If I adjust them back down to like I have the same kind of stuff as you, where you can adjust it. So I think I can
Yep.
adjust them back down and get them out. Because I've heard
Cool.
H3 is when you can get them
Yeah.
out there. So
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Her cousins all coach hockey up this way or over this way at the Muskegon Lumberjacks, Junior Jacks, and
uh-huh.
they're like they like every time we go, he's like interested, but then he wants to run around all the time too.
Yeah.
Which is typical 3-year-old behavior. Um, but yeah, so my question is, so because I've seen a couple of your vids where you actually bring the family. Now, are
Yes.
they all big into the hockey, or are they just like enjoying being able to watch you play?
My son James, not the 3-year-old, 10-year-old, he's big
Yeah.
into it. He gets me out on the rink. We play a lot of hockey. He's not big into skating though, so I don't know how far he's going to go without getting on skates more. But they've made signs and stuff. I tell you what, if you want to make a Miha trip really expensive, bring your family. I took them all to Chicago. They didn't go to a single one of my games. They went to Legoland, Peppa
Yep.
Pig World, some medieval dinner.
Oh,
They went to the aquarium out there.
yeah.
Yeah. So they had a lot of fun. I'm almost, I prefer probably they didn't watch any of those games because T3 is probably a little out of our league at this point. For the second season in a row, we're trying to kind of figuring that out, but yeah.
So, is there a possibility you guys might drop down to T4 for next season?
Oh yeah. I mean, we're gonna to drag this on for a third season. I think we're going. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I heard that there's going to be a T5, and the new T4 is going to be, like the worst of T3, the best of T4 kind of a deal. And
Okay.
I think that would be great for us because I think some of these T4 teams, I think we would just kill.
Right.
There's just a big difference between T3 and T4.
There
but
really is. Yeah, there
Mhm.
really is. Yeah.
But some of the T4, I think, would be a good fun challenge. I think, we don't need to beat everybody, but we don't want to get, you don't want to travel to another city and get mercied 8 goals.
Right.
It's
No, because that's not fun.
no. So we have good games, but I think one of our best games this season was with the Detroit Revolution. I think we lost 5-3. Oh, okay. We did play the Buffalo. We went down by a ton. We were down by 5 goals against Buffalo, and then the third period went nuts and lost only by 1 goal or something. So it's hard to, we're almost there. We're almost there. But
no, you really are. I mean, but like you said though, not being able to play, weekly or consistently, only getting together for my hot tournaments, it does make it that much more difficult. I bet if you guys were, I hate to say it like this, but if you guys were probably 10 years younger, it'd probably be a different story.
Oh yeah, if we were 10 years younger and we played every week at Rivertown Sports, we would be a team to be reckoned with.
Right. Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with you there because like I said, I played with you guys weekly. I played against you guys weekly, so I know exactly what you're talking about. So now, your daughters, do they play?
Very rarely.
Okay.
One of my daughters likes to skate. She'll go to roller rinks and skate around. Sometimes we've done family hockey games. My oldest, my 14-year-old, is more artsy, and she'll just kind of hang out on the bench and go look at a duck feather she finds on the ground while we're supposed to be playing hockey. Every kid is going to be wired a little different and raising them up and the way they should go. So
for sure.
I think I got at least one hockey player. I think my youngest actually might be into it too. So probably just the boys.
Okay. Okay. That's good. So now we also have another shared mutual hobby, and that's hunting. You love to hunt. I love to hunt as well. Tell us.
That's cool.
Tell us a little bit about how that came around for you, because I don't think you were. Were you really big into it growing up, or did you just get into it the last few years?
Did not do it too much growing up. A little. Okay. My dad was big into hunting. I built websites though, and I built a website for these hunters. They had invented something called the Rain Broadhead, and they actually were doing a television show to kind of promote it. And I was going to not only do their website, but do video editing for them, because that's what it's a school for. And they got me addicted to hunting. They took me out. I actually became part owner of the company. And I did that for, I don't know, maybe not quite a decade. I recently got out of it, but we had a TV show, we had DVDs on the store shelves, and now I do everything. I hunt duck, deer, I trap, small game. That's awesome. I mean, I'm kind of into everything. I've got a fox right now that's at the taxidermist. My taxidermist texted me today asking me what kind of base I wanted on. Nice. Oh yeah, I am. I mean, if you look behind me, these are a couple of wood ducks.
Yeah,
these are the first 2 ducks I ever got out in my backyard, and
that's awesome.
Beautiful old wood ducks. I have a honey hole back here for wood duck hunting.
Yeah,
it's
cool.
If there's water back there, it's a sure thing. Yeah. I limit out 5 minutes after dawn.
That's amazing. So right when shooting hours are, and then boom, you're right there. So that's cool. Yeah, no, so like I grew up hunting. My stepdad took me out, whenever he could. My grandfather always hunted. He was a police officer, and EMT and firefighter. So like that was one of the things that we always got a chance to do. Every Thanksgiving, we would go out hunting, and not very often were we successful, but just being out there was enough to make the memories. And then I picked up playing more, from early 2000 till about until 2012, when I went to Africa. And then once I got to Africa, it was all over. It was you're gonna come out to the farm and help us out. So when you had no real internet, excuse me, when you had no internet connection, you're either watching soccer or you're hunting. So yeah.
That's cool. I think I knew that we shared that, but I had forgotten about it. So
Yeah, because we had talked about it when you'd first, I want to say, about 7 or 8 years ago. Yeah, it was crazy.
So how often do you get in the woods?
Since Luke has been born, I haven't been able to get out at all.
No hockey, no hunting. What do you even do for fun? Ben stock?
I literally just watch my kid. I just make sure that he doesn't do anything that he's not supposed to.
Full-time job.
Yeah, it really is. I was a single parent there, right after day 12. So that was pretty tough for the first 18 months. And then after that, you kind of had to share custody a little bit. So it's working out pretty well. Now we got a baby on the way, and looking forward to she's going to be coming around in August or for later part of July.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, she's so it was crazy because like I got to Minnesota, landed, we got all of that snow overnight from Thursday to Friday. Leslie gives me a call as I'm sleeping in my hotel room because there's an hour time difference.
Mm-hmm.
And she's screaming. She's hurt. She's laying on the steps outside. She had slipped and fell, twisted up her knee. Didn't know what to do. So I was like, I called my buddy John, who lives right around the corner from me. And I was like, hey, man, I'm not sure what you're doing, but Leslie just fell down the stairs. I need you to help her get to the hospital to check out, make sure everything was okay. Baby's good. Leslie just has a tweaked knee.
Jeez.
So, yeah, she likes to give me a heart attack anytime she's not around.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, yeah, she's now starting to feel a little bit better, but man, it was like, what are you doing?
Wow.
Trying to do too much.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, so like, no, like I started watching, like I kind of stepped away from the whole game, of hockey, because I had to. And then, so now, like I said, it's just, I was hunting. And then once Luke came, it was time to just be there for him, and do whatever I could to make sure that he was happy and healthy and all that jazz. So, but things are starting to settle down. That's when I jumped on with Grove City and been broadcasting with those guys ever since. And I absolutely love it. Those guys, they do everything they can to make you feel right at home and a part of the team. So I absolutely love it.
Well, I appreciate what you guys do. I'd love to incorporate your footage into mine and see for an episode, see how that looks.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely do that. We'll make that work.
Fun episode to hear the announcers too. I know Nasher did a video like that with the announcers.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll make that happen.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So, but all right. So any last words before we hop off here?
Oh, yeah. Hey, hit that subscribe button at vintagegoalie.com. I think I'm the only YouTuber out there that's doing that first person point of view goaltending view.
Right? Yeah,
So,
from a goaltender perspective, absolutely. I don't think I've seen anyone else doing that. And I think it's awesome because there it's like when I'm watching those shots coming at you, I'm going, I can't even see that.
yeah. So typically, I mean, the camera is right here on me.
Okay.
So typically, if you can't see it, I probably can't. I mean, there's not much distance,
Right.
and left to right, you're right with me. So if I'm screened, you're screened too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's really cool and it's amazing stuff to see. I'm actually looking forward to seeing more of what you have because just like you, I'll be turning 41 this year. So I love watching all of the things that you got going on.
Well, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big 4-1.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, Leslie just turned 41 back in January too, so she's just like, "Let's do this." I'm like, "All right." So cool, man. But yeah, so make sure you turn on all notifications, like and subscribe to Vintage Goalie, right, Mike?
Vintage goalie, yeah. Thank you.
No problem. It's a good plug for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll take it.
All right, buddy. Cool. Well, we are just about out of time. So, Mike, any final words?
Hey, I had a good time and look forward to seeing you in Fort Wayne. That's the next tournament I will be at. Will you be there?
I'm not sure. There's 2 Fort Waynes. I got to get clearance from the old lady.
I think I'm the second one.
Yeah, I got to get clearance from the old lady first.
Okay.
Been gone a lot, so I got to make sure that everything's okay with her.
Understood.
Before you know how that goes. So, but all right, Mike. Well, it's a pleasure having you on the podcast, and we'll look forward to seeing you down in Fort Wayne. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right, bud. Have a good night. Cheers.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of GCH Podcast with Mike Enders. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock.
Now carrying it in. Rakic on goal.
That was a beautiful passing play right there, Sean.
What a save.